Okay, so a very good morning to all the viewers who are with us today on Sunday's brunch. Hope you are doing well and staying safe. I, Sweetie Janbilla, founder director of Mind Mirror Paradigm, today has come up with a very sensitive topic that is deliberate self harm. Before starting, I would like to give a small warning that there might be some discussions, there might be some pictures, there might be some videos which can be emotionally triggering. So I just hope that before we sit and listen and watch our discussion, we can compose ourselves somewhere. So, when I was researching on this topic, and when one of my dear friend, who is a panelist today, and she gave me this idea, then why not to talk and have a panel discussion on deliberate self-harm? So I came across a beautiful quote where one has poured the feelings, which was very relevant with today's agenda. So let me first read that to you all. Quotation. That feelings when everything you do seems like a struggle, where you don't want to leave the house because you know everyone is judging you, where you can't even ask for directions in fear that they will criticize you, where everyone always seems to be picking out your flaws. Do you know that feeling where you look in the mirror and completely hate what you see? When you compare yourself to everyone you meet. That feeling when you feel so disappointed in who you are and everything you have become. That feeling when you just want to let it all out, but you don't want to look weak. Do you know the feeling when your deepest fear becomes a reality? Fear that you will never be good enough. When you feel as if you deserve all the pain you give yourself, understanding that every cut, every burn, every bruise you have even given yourself you deserved. That feeling when you believe you deserve constant and brutal pain. Do you know what it feels like to just want to give up? When you just want all the pain to end, but you want it to continue. So it's just that I hide all my scars with an I am fine quotation. Yes, is a very emotionally triggering quote. So there are lots of myths attached to self-harm. Some say that it's just an attention-seeking behavior. Some associate it with suicidal traits. Some say it's just a phase and one will get over it soon and stop doing it. But is it so? Today, in our discussion, we will try to break the myths and unfold the facts as what exactly is self harm and what are the reasons one engages into this behavior. But before we begin our discussion and welcome our panelists, we would like to share a video which will give a brief idea as how self harm looks like. So I would like to share a video with all of you.
Have you ever noticed a friend wearing long sleeves on a really hot day? Have you often noticed a lot of small scratches or cuts on their skin that they say were caused by a cat or make some other kind of strange excuse? Those could be signs that they are inflicting harm on their own body. People who self harm are trying to find some relief from or take control of very intense feelings of rage, rejection, sorrow, loneliness, or emptiness by making shallow scratches, cuts, or burns. When the main issue the person is dealing with is not treated, the feelings of relief from cutting often lessen over time. The person then might find that they want to self injure more often and more severely to try and get those same feelings again. Getting help can be very difficult for people who self harm. The feeling of relief from cutting is often followed by feelings of intense guilt and shame. However, it's important to find other, more effective ways to cope with the underlying feelings. Parents, friends, school counselors, social workers, and other trusted adults are all people to whom people who harm themselves can turn to for help so they do not have to feel so alone. If your friend or someone you care about shares that they are self harming themselves, please don't promise to keep this a secret, as your friend needs help from a trusted adult or counselor.
Till next time, don't forget to visit me at amaze.org or go to
So
my
I
YouTube
really
channel to watch
hope
more.
that you have got an idea what exactly self-harm behavior means. So today, to discuss on this important topic, we have panelists, two who are experts in their field of mental health, and one who's a young mind brimming with ideas and energy to represent the present generation and the youth as what they think about today's topic and how relevant he thinks it is with our present youth. So let me first add them to the stream one by one. Hello, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. Good
Good
morning, ma'am.
morning.
Good morning. So let me first introduce the panelists. Our first panelist I would like to welcome is Dr. Ananya Sinha. Dr. Ananya Sinha, or I would rather address her as Ananya itself because she is a very, very, very close friend of mine. And we know each other since 2 decades. It's almost 18 to 20 years we know each other. And I really take immense pleasure to introduce her on this panel. Welcome, Ananya. Okay.
Thank
Now
you
let
so
me
much
first
for your warm welcome. Thank you.
thank you. Now let me first introduce who is she. She is the founder and chief clinical psychologist at Therapy. She is an RCI registered trauma informed LGBTQ affirmative clinical psychologist with over 10 years of experience. Quite a good, quite a big one. She is an international affiliate member of American Psychological Association. She has pursued a MPhil in clinical psychology from the Institute of Human Behavior and Allied Sciences, New Delhi, and her PhD from a prestigious department of clinical psychology in NIMHANS, which is in Bangalore. She regards her profession as an opportunity to serve people and help them overcome their challenges. She has extensively worked with multicultural clients and specialized in cognitive behavior therapy, dialectical behavior therapy, trauma focused work, couple therapy, and LGBT affirmative therapy. She has also written book chapters, published her research in international journals, and has been invited as a speaker in multiple international conferences. She has been quoted in the Telegraph, Economic Times, The Wire, Parent Circle, News Laundry, and the like. And her areas of specialization is depression, anxiety spectrum disorder, OCT, borderline personality disorder, trauma processing, grief therapy, and couples therapy. And as I know personally, she is an excellent person, a down to earth, a golden heart person, I would rather say, and a person who believes in giving compassion. So welcome, Ananya. Now,
Thank you.
yes, Ananya. Okay. Our second panelist is Miss Sunanda Ravi. I'm in awe with her smile. Actually, it's a beautiful and positive smile of Ma'am Sunanda. So she is a counseling psychologist from Hyderabad and founder of Manasa Shubhkara. Before starting our session, I was asking what is the meaning of this term. So she said it's mind and Shubhkara is a positive, doing good and giving good to some people. So it's like when I am attaching doing good and the mind together. So it's a beautiful combination, I would say. Her special areas of interest is eco psychology, art therapy, positive psychology. She is a certified positive psychologist and a certified yoga trainer. She spreads awareness on mental health through webinars, seminars in various colleges, TV shows, and social media. She is also a blog writer in Let's Talk Mana Wellness. She has also spoken in many forums such as Shaksham Rajasthan Society, Mental Health Webinar Series, American College, Telangana Psychological Association, Hyderabad, and Andhra Psychology Association, Andhra Pradesh. Welcome, ma'am.
Hi, sweetie.
Now, our the third and the final panelist is Mr. Anupam Bhaduri, who is doing and pursuing his BA LLB. He is deeply inspired by the business world while being aware of the immense pressure building in corporates. I can really understand that. And he is actively involved in social activities, and also he is an active member of Rotaract Club of Calcutta UVs, which is in Calcutta. He believes to live a healthy life and thus involves in physical exercises which helps him to cope with his stress. Welcome Anupam and welcome all the panelists.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. God bless you. Now we are going to start a session with a discussion. But before that, first question, as I ask, and as we know that mind mirror paradigm is mainly targeted to cover and to assist the youth to make them aware of what exactly mental health is. So I would like to ask, Ma'am Sunanda first, like what do you understand by mental health among youth, or how do you feel that our youngsters see mental health as? Yes, ma'am, Sunanda.
Yeah, mental health is more important like physical health. We have to focus mental health. Some rituals we have to practice daily.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you really think that our youngsters also practice mental health, or they also believe that yes, we need to practice the positive coping strategies and positive mental health rather than getting into involved in some negative practices? Do you really think our youngsters do that?
No, we have to focus on positive emotions. That is more important.
Okay. What about Anupam, being a young person and you represent the young generation today? Do you really think that your friends or the people who you see around you, like of your age or maybe age lesser than you, they practice some positive mental health or they believe in mental health? And if they do, what mental health according to you mean?
Yes, ma'am. Like, given our generation, we are especially aware that mental health, is a very big factor in how well your life goes from day to day. So,
Mm-hmm.
yes, for this generation, we are actively involved in it, and we actually want that everyone in the society gets access to better mental health.
Mm-hmm.
But given that, it is also like imperative to note that mental health also heavily relies on the kind of environment that we stay in, and often that is not very conducive.
Exactly. Exactly so. Very good. Very well said. Yes, Ananya, what is your viewpoint on this?
So I believe that yes. When I was hearing Anupam, I was just thinking I was teaching at a university some time back, and I had interacted with young minds pretty closely. So there are certain constructs about how you are dealing with certain stressful situations, how your environment is, what the environmental demands. I completely agree with what Anupam is saying, that the environmental demands are very different. Like if you remember our college days and now, and the demands are so different. So yes, there is a very important component of environmental demand. So is an important component of how we are dealing with those demands.
Exactly.
I am glad that this generation is more aware of mental health issues. They were more definitely way more verbal about the mental health concerns, both positive and negative. They are aware of what the positive mental health behaviors or engagements are. And they also probably know how to be aware of some of the indicators or the red flags of the negative aspects. So definitely we are seeing a change in the entire paradigm of mental health.
Exactly. Now, I would like to ask and throw a question to Anupam first, as today's topic is the deliberate self harm. So, what do you think exactly you understand by this term, deliberate self harm, being a young person, and how common do you see it with among your friends or among the people you know about your age, or maybe the age range of 15 to 24 or 23?
uh, when it comes to deliberate self harm, I guess this is actually a more serious manifestation of what we jokingly pass on to computer games, because whenever we are talking about computer games, it's all about playing these action games where a lot of people claim that they tend to rage and put their frustration out. So
Mm-hmm.
I guess deliberate self harm is a way where people feel connected to the reality by inflicting pain on themselves. It's not like that they want to injure themselves to an extent where they will be in perilous situation, but yes, the pain helps them to feel alive, and it sort of connects them to the reality.
Okay. So,
And
doc,
in the
yeah.
yes, ma'am.
No, no, sure, sure. Please continue. Please
Yes, ma'am.
continue, Anupam. I'm really sorry.
So it's okay, ma'am. So when it comes to DSH, I have had friends who I remember a particular friend of mine who constantly used to like debase himself because he could not pass a certain class. Something when we come to the college realm of our career or our education, it really doesn't matter losing a year or two. But however, if we lose that in like in our school life, that's a huge taboo. So the person could never get over the guilt, and he continuously used to self harm himself, and that was his way of relieving himself of the shame that he had brought upon himself and his family. On another instance, I remember a friend who used to self harm herself because she felt that she was neglected by her family, that the older sibling and the younger sibling were the ones who got all the attention from her parents, and both of them were working individuals. So that was her way of like gaining significance in the family. Like she could not mark out herself as someone extremely talented or maybe as someone whom the others would look up to or refer to.
Okay, okay, very good. Yes, Dr. Ananya, would you throw some light on this as Anupam gave the examples also? And what do you exactly think that do you think that our youngsters in today's generation they are taking this coping mechanism as a savior?
So I would try to refrain from the word coping in this context,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe I'll try
Mm-hmm.
to explain what this concept of deliberate self-harm is. The deliberate self-harm is also sometimes called NSSI, which is non-suicidal self-injury. So it is basically when you're intentionally injuring your body tissue without any suicidal intent and in a socially non-sanctioned, not in a way which is not socially sanctioned. So it is not like there's a religious thing or any other social method by which it is sanctioned in any way. It is like I'm doing it, I'm intentionally injuring my body tissue
Mm-hmm.
without any suicidal intent. Now, there can be
Exactly.
so many factors associated with it. What Anupam said, parental neglect or emotional neglect, particularly at first child experiences, sometimes abuse experiences, has been found to be strongly associated with engagement in deliberate self harm. It is, however, probably not always a coping mechanism. Like I said, it is a method of affect regulation or emotional regulation. So when we find it difficult to regulate our emotion, and it is interesting, we found that people who have like there's something called alexithymia where we can actually express our emotions verbally in a particular way. So when they are not, their emotional expressivity is not that great, that is when they tend to engage in deliberate self harm. So it is somewhere to do with emotions, my experience of emotions, how do I manage those emotions, how do I regulate those emotions. So, more than what they're trying to do in terms of like coping, we usually associate with stress. Here, it is not really
Mm-hmm.
associated with stress. It's a difficult experience in life. It can be about sometimes childhood experiences, adverse childhood experiences like emotional neglect and abuse, that makes them more vulnerable to be in a particular situation where they find it difficult to regulate their emotions or express their emotions. But when they're in a difficult situation, they actually tend to engage in these behaviors. And there can be so many forms. There can be forms, again, a trigger warning, but there can be forms like we usually think of, whenever we think of self harm, we think of cutting, but it can be head banging, it can be scratching, it can be burning, it can be so many other ways, but basically you're inflicting some pain. And this, the term that Anupam just used, like, feeling alive, I've seen a lot of clients trying to express that, I'm feeling alive. What they probably think, they're like numbing the emotional pain and feeling the physical pain. So the physical pain sort of numbs the intense emotional pain that they're going through. So all they're trying to do is they're trying to manage the intense emotional experiences. And on that regard, I'll just add one more small point. So we have a basically a four-factor model to understand that why people do it. What are the different functions? Um, so it is not attention seeking. So let me put that out very, very clearly that it is not an attention seeking behavior. It is an emotion trying to manage their internal environment. So the four-factor model basically has automatic and social and positive and negative. So these are the four factors. So what usually happens is if there is an automatic negative aspect to it. So basically, what we are trying to do is we are trying to reduce the negative internal experiences. If there's an internal strong emotion happening, we are trying to regulate that strong emotional experience. Sometimes it can be positive, automatic. We are trying to increase some positive feelings. I want to experience some positive feelings. That can also be another way of feeling alive, like Anupam mentioned. There can be social negative. Social negative is when I'm trying to manage some unwanted social adversities. So I'm trying to reduce some social adversities, so social negativities. And positive is basically to seek social support. We must not think that seeking social support is attention seeking. It is a way of communication. That's why alexithymia is where you are not being able to express your emotion, if feeling a strong emotion, you don't know what to do. So it is mainly about regulation and expression of emotion. To me,
Okay.
that is what it is.
So I just wanted to ask you one question regarding to this. As you said, that it's more about the feeling alive, and it's about like, should I use this word substituting your negative feelings with a positive one? And when I'm getting into this, like, when I'm like suppressing, or maybe I am not neglecting, but subsiding the negative feelings and feeling the positive through self harm. Is it so? Can I use the word substitute here then?
I won't call it, substituting with positive. It is,
Mm-hmm.
you want to numb the emotional pain. So
Mm-hmm.
there is a strong emotional pain happening. You are trying to numb it because you want to
Okay.
feel something stronger than it so that you can at that moment reduce that internal emotional state. So to numb it, if a physical thing, like I'm just doing something, I'm scratching, I'm hitting. So that sort of numbs that internal emotional experience for some time. So
Exactly.
it is more about it. I won't call it substituting, but like I said, it's a way of emotional regulation. Like you're in a dysregulated state, you're trying to regulate your emotion in some way. It's an attempt to
Mm-hmm.
regulate your emotion, and at the same time, sometimes it is expressing your emotions. You're being able to
Exactly.
communicate the intensity in some way.
Exactly, exactly. I would like to ask Sunanda, ma'am, what do you think, as Ananya has beautifully explained the term DSH in a beautiful expression, that yes, it's kind of an expression, if you're not able to communicate, it's a way of communicating with other person, that yes, this is how I'm expressing my feelings. If not by speaking, or if not by emoting in some other ways, but this is the way I am emoting my feelings. So, do you feel that our children or our young people, especially our adolescents, have this trouble or problem in communicating, and then they can take this step? Do you really think? And if yes, then how many? Like, what can be the percentage you feel that?
Yeah, as Ananya said, we have to regulate our emotions properly
Mm-hmm,
in a positive way. They have
mm-hmm,
to express it, but not in a negative way. That is more important. Then
mm-hmm,
10% of people aged between 15 to 16 years, teenage
mm-hmm,
adolescents are mostly they are facing this problem. Maybe
mm-hmm,
due to single parent, then they have some exam stress. These are the factors maybe. Then
mm-hmm,
hopelessness, helplessness, we can call it as their
mm-hmm,
inner
mm-hmm.
screen mainly. We
Okay,
have to
okay, great.
regulate that. Yeah, we have to improve our inner strength. That is
Mm-hmm,
more important. Then above 45 years age, men also they are facing these problems. Maybe retirement, insecure feeling, then workplace tensions, then
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
couples fighting. It may also lead this
mm-hmm,
problem. Then females are more affected. This deliberate self-harming factor.
mm-hmm. So, do
Yeah.
you really think, Sunanda ma'am, as you said that 45 years, there are some males who are 45 years and older, they also can get engaged into self harm behavior. So,
Yeah.
if I can sum up this, that means there is no age bracket that yes, particular this age will have more self harm behavior rather than this age group, right? It can happen at any moment of time. So, can you tell me, like, that as you said, that females are much more prone to self harm behavior? Like, can you tell me the reason why do you think that female can be much more prone than the males?
Yeah, we have to interact, we have to outlet our emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So we can create some social group, or we can engage ourselves, what we are discussing, that mental health forums, we can interact with them.
Mm-hmm.
Just we have to create awareness what is mental health issues, then how we can protect ourselves from mental health issues, that is more important. Usually,
Okay.
what they will do, ladies, they will sit inside home, they will watch TV serials, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then
Mm-hmm.
they will eat more. When they are having problems, they won't discuss. Just they will sit
Mm-hmm.
inside the home, and maybe they will end up in eating disorders. These are the problems.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Huh?
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
I guess there's
please.
some technical. Yeah, there is some technical. No problem. Okay, so I would like to ask Ananya, like, while I was searching, and when we talk about self harm behavior also, and I was looking for some deliberate self harm helpline numbers. Like, if suppose somebody wants to approach a helpline, then how to? But then I was only getting the suicidal helpline numbers, so like suicide preventions and how to how to call for a person for help and this and that. But the problem is, like, I also personally feel that self harm is not correlated with suicide or any suicidal thoughts. So do you really think that I am correct, or like is there any kind of underlying correlation between a suicidal thoughts and a deliberate self harm? Yes, Ananya.
Yeah. So the first aspect, like even when I said that, deliberate self-harm is often called non-suicidal self-injury. And even if you go by
Exactly.
the definition, it says it's without a suicidal intent. So that is
Mm-hmm.
how we basically differentiate. The suicide, the intent is to end your life. When it comes to deliberate self-harm, the intent is never to end your life. It is to regulate your emotions at that time, numb the pain at that time. So basically make that emotional experience slightly more tolerable at that time. However, we
Mm-hmm.
do see that, particularly with cuts and all, sometimes when the cuts might be slightly more deeper than we had expected. And that is
Yes.
when it can be fatal. So the
Mm-hmm.
intent is not suicidal. The intent is not really to end your life. And this
Mm-hmm.
entire thing is basically on a paradigm of emotions, right? It's very difficult to say, okay, this is where self harm ends and this is where suicidal intent starts. And we also see a
Mm-hmm.
very high correlation between depression and self harming behavior. Or
Exactly.
PTSD, or there are many other mental health conditions which is associated with. So it's very
Yes.
difficult to really say that, okay, this is self harm and okay, this is where it stops and this is where the suicidal part starts. So it's on a continuum. Ideally, conceptually, what deliberate self-harm is it's a non-suicidal intended injury to yourself. Whereas sometimes, because of the way you're doing it, it might be fatal. Because of the intensity, the number of times you're doing it, your emotional state at that time, whether we have to see whether the person is severely depressed at that time and at the same time self-harm. So what exactly is happening? And then, because we
Mm-hmm.
have to see it on a continuum at some level, and that is why intervention for self-harm is so important, and this discussion is probably so important because it's very difficult to
Exactly.
say that when it will move from this end to the other end.
Exactly. I would like to ask Anupam, as we're talking about self harm behavior today, right? When we talk about periodic depression, when we talk about certain mental health conditions, also, people take it in a negative way because still mental health is considered as a taboo in India.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
I don't know, like, I would say, yes, a lot of people are worldwide still taking, like, very slowly this mental health as a positive way. So when you talk to your friends, or when you see that your friends, as you have discussed two cases as well, that you have seen your friends also that they are engaging into the self harm behavior, and when you suppose you went to them and you said that yes, okay, fine, come, let us approach a help, let us seek out help, let us reach out to a professional. So in what way do you see the reaction? Are they willing to go, or they feel hesitant? No, it's all okay, I don't need any kind of help.
Bam, it's mostly hesitant. I guess it happens a lot with almost everyone that, from our generation's perspective, it's not like that talking about mental health is a taboo. First of all,
Mhm.
is that even if we have to go and see a therapist, where is the money going to come from? Not all of us aren't. And it would be like going back to the same issue that we have to approach our parents for it, and they are not going to take it seriously. They're going to belittle it, and going through that ordeal again, it's better to just, like, hush everything up and like remain as it is. For others who can, they have readily taken up help, and I am happy to say that yes, our generation is way more open to talking about it and taking help when they can.
Great, great, great. So, Ananya, I would like to ask you only, like when we talk about self harm, what do you think? How much people are aware of this topic, self harm, and how openly they take this? Because because being a school counselor, right, when I deal with adolescent group and when I deal with an adult population as well, it becomes very difficult to approach in that way that yes, this need to be taken care of. Somewhere I feel that they have taken comfort in this. No, I am all okay. And first thing is like it's very difficult. They will not open up. They somehow feel that yes, I am going to be judged, the first question. So that rapport need to be established, that ice need to be break, that no, you will not be judged. But then somehow as we live in a society, people have tendency to judge. They associate and correlate everything together in a general way. So what do you think exactly, in what way we can, like, make awareness, and how much it is already there in our people's mind that yes, definitely self harm is not suicidal. Self harm is also a part of mental health. It needs to be taken care of. It cannot be the one you, it is not a positive way of expressing emotions. Yes, definitely is a way of emoting, but not a positive or not in a constructive way. There can be a substitute ways of also expression of communication. So in what way we can make aware? Yes, Ananya.
So, when you say awareness, I agree with Anupam saying that the current generation is aware of mental health issues, and I'm really glad
Mm-hmm.
that all the discussions are happening. They are pretty expressive on the social media or platforms, Instagram, and everywhere. Now, clarity about deliberate self harm. I think where we are stuck is it is not that we confuse deliberate self harm with suicidal intent. It is probably whenever a person is engaging in DSH or NSSI, they feel that it is an attention seeking behavior, and that is where the judgment comes in. It is almost like if
Exactly.
somebody sees the scratch marks on my hand, that means I'm somebody who cannot handle her emotions and who does things which others don't do. So their quote unquote coping is better, or their way of handling life is better. Mine is not. So what we need to understand, if we are talking about awareness, is that this is about emotions. Emotional experiences differ from person to person. It and the way people every all of us, we try to manage our emotions, difficult emotions, in our own way, and this is just one of the ways. And I'm not labeling it as adaptive, not maladaptive. I'm not labeling it as anything. I'm just saying that this is a way people try to find some way to regulate their emotions. Now the problem is, one, in general, our society, we don't take even a suicidal intent. If we say that, I'm feeling suicidal, they will say, oh, nothing, she's just. And there, I have also heard people saying, if you really feel suicidal, just go and do it. Why are you telling it? If you're telling it, that means you don't want to do it. So the thing is that
Exactly.
the moment the expression part is not well taken, so if you're trying to create an awareness, we need to see that that's normalized discussion about emotions, including difficult emotions. Let's say that if somebody is saying that I'm feeling this pain, instead let's go and say, okay, what do you want to talk about it? I'm here. Or if you don't want to talk about it, then also it's fine. Whenever you're ready, I'm here. Instead of saying that, okay, if you really want to do it, go and do it. It is, no point telling it. You're just trying to seek attention. What's the point? So you're basically nullifying the entire difficult experience the person is going through. So if I would like to basic, if it is awareness, I would say that let's talk about mental health and emotion, just like we talk about physical. It's so easy to talk about, I'm having a headache, having stomach upset, today I'm not having a good day. And people say, oh, why don't you have this thing? But when it comes to mental, it's like, oh, manage yourself. So that is what we need to create an awareness about. And to add to that, what Anupam said, that parents, like this generation is aware, convincing parents, that's difficult. So we need to basically create an awareness among that generation, the parental generation, that this is not an attention-seeking thing. This person is going through something. Let's hear the person out. If you cannot help, also just hear the person out.
Exactly. I really totally agree. There are certain times when we say that, as you have mentioned that it's not, we can't generalize, or we can't completely categorize whether it's a healthy behavior or unhealthy, or constructive or destructive, as you said. And it's the way some people find out to take out their emotions, and it's their way, and we need to take care of that. That's it. So, but one thing what clicked in my mind is out of the context actually, like when we talk about anger, right? Because that is also one kind of expression of emotion. But then we see that how to control our anger. Somehow I always feel that, like why to control your anger? Why to control your emotions? Let them channelize out. So learn to channelize rather than learning to control it. so do you really agree, Ananya? Because when I deal with just children and when I take some classes of them, life skills and all, first we teach about it what exactly you need to identify your emotions. First, you need to identify yourself, who you are, what are your needs, what are your wants, what your body and mind really need about that particular situation. Emotions. Like try to learn and identify emotions. Try to feel every kind of emotion. That is very important. Even if you're happy, even you're sad, just feel it. And there's no harm when you're sad. There's no harm when you're angry. But yes, when you're angry, when you're sad, just let it take it out in a constructive way rather than harming others or harming yourself. Let take it out, vent it out, because venting out emotion is very, very important. And one more question I would like to ask here, along with, there are two questions, Ananya, I want to shoot you. First is that. Secondly is, as ma'am said, that females are much more prone. But somehow I also feel that males are also prone, because in our society we teach that लड़के रोते नहीं हैं, and then we start conditioning that boys, please try to keep your emotions inside, don't vent it out, because we girls somehow we can cry our heart out, we can vent out by crying, and it's okay, like girls are very sensitive. But then when we see a boy crying, why are you crying like a girl? So that venting of channel is, I'm just blocking it out. So do you really think these also contribute to some kind of self harm behavior, Ananya?
Right. So the first question was about control, and I absolutely agree with the fact that we should ideally should not be using the term control. And if you see, I had been using term regulation, emotional
Yes.
regulation. When we even
Hmm.
say anger, we say anger management. We don't say control.
Exactly.
Controlling your anger is not something mental health professionals use. We call about anger
Exactly.
management. So it is about regulating. It is, so if you look at the even the intervention model and the emotional regulation model, the first part that we actually really spend a lot of time with our clients is being aware of your emotions. So it's an entire model out there where the first aspect is how to identify your emotions, how to know what are the physiological components, cognitive components, emotional components. There's so many components out there. So emotion is a complex experience. So first be aware what the experience is, and then we can decide whether we want to regulate it or we want to experience it. What do we want to do about it? So gaining a sense of control over your emotions, not like your emotions are overwhelming you, you're just being completely guided by your emotional mind, but rather okay, this is my emotion, this is how I label it, this is why what I want to
Hmm.
do it, this is how it is happening. So that is one of the
Exactly.
major components of emotional regulation. And the second that you said, that I think that yes, that is where society plays a big role, where we often associate certain things, men cannot do these things, or this is gender based emotional thing. So emotion is a very basic thing, right? It's a primary
Exactly.
experience. We have 8 primary emotions, and all it's like whether it is a male or a female, ultimately all of us experience all those emotions. So expression of emotion is not always socially sanctioned by a society, particularly by men, even by female. If you really see that I'm feeling sad, okay, maybe as a woman I might feel more accepted, like with my friends. Okay, as a female I can cry. For a male it might be like I can't. But also, on a positive note, I can see the media is changing. The way the media is, reflecting, or the way media is portraying males expressing their emotions. That's changing. So it was always like the angry young man concept is gone. Now it's a
Exactly.
vulnerable person, man, woman, like it's vulnerability. And the new concept also says, vulnerability is courage. If you're vulnerable, that means you're courageous. That is the new concept of bravery. And to add to that, when research, if we go back to research a bit, why females engage more in deliberate self-harm than males. So research says that, if you remember the four-factor model that I said, that females tend to be more in that, in automatic negative, automatic positive mode. So they are trying to basically reduce the internal experiences and increase positive feelings. That is what females, why females usually, the function of NSSI in females, whereas the function of NSSI in males is usually the social negative, social positive part. So reduce social adversities or adverse experience, or seek social support. So that is also one of the reasons why we see a difference. However, when it comes to the concept of emotional regulation training, or skills training in a person, it should be equal in both, because it's an experience, it's a human experience, and we need to go through, and we need to know, we need to be equipped with how we manage it. So this, like, men don't cry is no longer possibly something that we will ever uphold.
Exactly. So, what are the red flags exactly? How like we can identify that somebody is like engaged into self harm behavior? What can be the red flags, and how to identify? How our viewers can know that yes, if I want to help someone, if I want to help my friend, then this is the identification triggers actually. Ananya.
So one is, yeah, you
Yeah.
asked me to respond.
Yes. 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 Ananya.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So one of the indicators is basically be on the lookout, like wearing full sleeves, like somebody who is usually wearing half sleeves now wearing full sleeves, and just being a bit jittery, like always doing like this, like pulling this, the sleeves. However, I must tell that this entire scratching and cutting doesn't only happen here. They usually do it in places which are not usually visible. So if there is any kind of physical pain, like I can see that this person is putting her hand on the thigh and thing like this. Like you just be a little bit mindful about what is happening, like in the entire experience.
Mm,
Also be on the lookout for certain burn marks or something that you notice in the person, and you're like, or maybe here or anywhere, and you just see that what happened. Just ask. So that is one of the ways. However, I must say, whoever is engaging in DSH, they take all the efforts to cover that up,
I
that,
did.
so that it's
Yes.
not easily visible.
And that is
The
a main
other,
indication that it is not an attention seeking behavior actually.
absolutely, absolutely, that, like,
Exactly.
you're spot on onto it, because they don't really want people to know. They
Exactly.
are just trying to manage their emotions at that time. The second is, it always is preceded by significant emotional experience. So it is
Mm-hmm.
like the emotional experience becomes very intense to a point that I can't bear with it, and that is when I think, okay, maybe DSH. So
Mm-hmm.
this curve, upward curve, when emotions are becoming so intense, that is when they try to express in different ways other than DSH. So if somebody is saying, I'm feeling terrible, or this is so
Mm-hmm.
intense, this is like, this is happening, that
Mm-hmm.
is a point you might ask, like, how do you feel, what do you feel like doing, how can we help. So maybe that is a point we can intervene, or if not intervene, just be there. This is I'm saying, I'm not sure whether I'll call it a red flag of DSH, because it always doesn't engage or end up in DSH, but this might
Exactly.
be a good point to enter, because it is always
Exactly.
preceded by that. And also creating safe non-judgmental spaces with your family and peers, or close ones, so that they can come and tell you, I did this, Like I know some people, like even friends and otherwise, like people whom I know, this they had been able to come in, not because I'm a psychologist, but I know it's probably because I am a friend, or like, I did this. So creating that space so that they can come, because they
Exactly.
want to express, they want to find a way out, but they are not always feeling
Exactly.
safe enough to share it
Mhm.
because they feel that they might be judged.
Exactly. So exactly, Ma'am Sunanda, I want to ask you, like as she has said about the identification and how we can know that yes, somebody is engaged and how we can approach them, or that mindful work. Yes, the person is hiding or something is going on, something is wrong there. So when we are working in a school culture or when we are working in a college culture, either when a child is coming or when an adolescent is coming to you, so how you can identify at that particular moment.
They will reject us, no? They will maintain secrecy.
Mm-hmm.
They cannot focus on their homework or workplace commitments. They
Mm-hmm.
will avoid people publicly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. As somebody is asking, one of our viewers is asking one question is, as we know the indication also. So somebody is asking like there are certain mothers actually, I don't know how relevant will this be in this topic. There are certain mothers who take out their anger on children, and they inflict pain to them. Okay, so do you really think that this is also one kind of self harm, that I am inflicting the pain to my child, and I know I'm very attached to the child, and that cry or that wound will make give me some pain to me as well, and that can be the thing. Yes, something is the pleasure principle works. Is it so? In what way do you really think about this topic? This question.
Yeah, yeah, it will affect, no, family history also. Then genetical also it plays a role. While
Okay.
taking history, we can focus family background, right? Whether
Okay.
their parents are separated, like that, we can discuss with them.
Okay. Ananya, what do you think about this question then? What is your viewpoint then?
Yeah, I think that was a very interesting question. I mean, that is
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
seeing yourself, like, honestly, I've never really thought through that lens where my child is almost a
Exactly.
part of myself. So if I'm harming myself or hitting my child, it is almost like hitting myself. So that's where.
Exactly. Hmm.
So thank you for the question. And however, when it comes to children, it is what
Mm-hmm.
we usually see that when a mother is hitting the child, it probably is not a way to reduce their emotional dif- maybe in some way because they're frustrated. It's like a
Mm-hmm.
roadblock. I'm trying to make. I know this is wrong for the child. The child is continuously
Exactly.
engaging in it. I'm trying in all other ways, and I'm feeling frustrated. I don't know what to do. So that is one desperate attempt that this is what
Mm-hmm.
is right for you. Listen to it. So just the concept, how we have associated hitting with, it's a negative association with the behavior. The child will know that
Exactly.
if I do this, I will be hit and I will stop doing it. It's basic behavioral principle. So maybe this one is probably in a bid to help the child engage
Mm-hmm.
in meaningful behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
meaningful in the sense engage in positive behaviors or the kind of behavior the mother wants. But it's very interesting. I think it is the way we see it because psychologically also we know that child is a part of yourself. So
Exactly.
it depends. It probably depends. It's I won't be able to give a one liner answer for that. I would like to explore further what is the experience of the mother, what is she thinking at that time, what is happening. But yes, it might be a mix of everything, but in this case maybe it is more about disciplining the child and a desperate attempt to do it and frustrating that I'm not being able to do it, so this is probably the last resort. I know it hurts, but I
But
know
this
I'm doing.
question, but this question has given us a field to explore more on the self-harm behavior exactly actually in what we see. Okay, so one person has asked me this question. One young mind has asked this question actually. As during COVID, because in COVID we all have our mental health has definitely taken a toll, and we have not able to meet our friends. There are certain kind of times we are not able to express our feelings there. So, and even we are very apprehensive about a career also. So this career frustration or academic frustration can contribute towards self harm behavior, Ananya.
Yeah, I think this is probably a reflection of voices of most youth now. And I remember we were discussing with Anupam the other day. He also had
Yes,
similar
exactly.
concerns. Yeah. So So if you really go back to research and what are the factors affecting it, so like I said, childhood experiences, difficult experiences that makes them vulnerable, but current life stresses can actually impact, because if you really see, it's a simple connection. Current life status, my previous vulnerabilities, all other factors, there's so many predisposing
Exactly.
factors all coming together, and that is resulting in a difficult experience. Now, how do that difficult experience can be managed in multiple ways, so this can be one of the ways. And I do agree that COVID is like, it's socially isolating, right? If I'm, let's say, I'm feeling something, I'm going out, I'm going to the college, I'm meeting so many people, and I'm getting that space where, after a little bit of probing, maybe I'm saying, I'm going through this. But COVID is like, I'm isolated in my space and I don't even know, can I always call them and talk about my problems? Can this really be expressed through a phone call? I don't, like, it is a fact that I don't know what my future holds for me, career wise, also what it holds for me. So it depends on how these concerns, what kind of emotions they lead to, and how I'm managing with those emotions. If it is anxiety and I'm
Exactly.
engaging in a, let's say, a problem focused coping, I'm discussing and I'm trying to figure out ways of how to, have some more grip over the future concerns, or like, let's say, career thing. I do understand, like, college, just imagine people have joined the college, virtual college, they have sort of tried to go back to on offline classes, but they're just not being able to, they're missing out on their entire college life, which is so sad
Exactly.
and which is so
Exactly.
debilitating. So this
Exactly.
can be one of the factors. I won't say this is the
Mhm.
only factor. This can be one of
Mhm.
the vulnerable or the predisposing factors. So we don't know how things play out. So it's very complex actually to say that this leads to this, but this can definitely be one of the factors.
Great, great,
It is
great.
also
I
because probably we are not being able to reach out for support so easily. Like when we are going out,
exactly.
right now we are in a isolated space where peer support is not so easily available. We always say we are just a phone call away, but having somebody in the physical space makes a lot of difference.
Exactly. So exactly, and that physical touch, and that, yes, I am there. That is also get, even if you don't say, just you touch, and that compassion, that warmth can give you a lot of message that yes, somebody is there to listen. And we all need to be heard by people. That is very, very important. That there should be someone. Now, as we are coming to the end, I would first like to ask, like, what are the interventions? Because somebody has already asked that, how to decrease the frequency of self harm and suicidal thoughts. So, what can be the interventions we can have? I would like to first go with Sunanda, ma'am. What, according to you, can be the interventions regarding this self harm behavior?
Yeah, as Anupama said, we are struck up inside the walls.
Mm-hmm.
Little bit we are depressed. We
Mm-hmm.
have to come out of that. We have to distract ourselves from our routine. Whenever we
Mm-hmm.
are feeling low, serotonin level will be low, then high
Mm-hmm.
level of endorphins, that we
Mm-hmm.
have to regulate ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even
Exactly.
UK, USA also, they are facing these problems.
Mm-hmm.
DSH, I think
Mm-hmm.
3 to 5% they are also having.
Mm-hmm.
This is evidence based statistics, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have to take ourself, self love methods, self awareness, self acceptance. In this
Exactly.
method, we can take ourselves like doing meditation, yoga,
Mm-hmm.
then
Mm-hmm.
art therapy, some painting
Mm-hmm.
techniques, coloring. We can focus ourselves so that
Mm-hmm.
we can build our inner strength, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, we
Exactly.
can relieve our stress, then release our anger, then we can
Mm-hmm.
prioritize our day-to-day activities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, then
Okay.
we can connect with other peoples. Nowadays we have a lot of Facebook, Insta, whatever, we are having lot of options are there. These and all we can focus on positive way,
Okay. Okay.
right?
Great.
Not
Great.
only searching for film fair, searching for that, not only for that, right? We can focus
Mm-hmm.
ourselves. We can improve our inner strength. Then we can create a community like this mental health webinars promoting ourselves. We can create awareness in youth, school
Mm-hmm.
students, and college community. We can create awareness. We can promote regular classes. We can
Okay.
intervene in this way. Yeah.
Great, great, great. Anupam, if I ask you, like, what do you think if you are there, like, you are almost 20, 21 years old, 22 years old. So, what can be the interventions or what can be the coping strategies you can adopt or you can ask your friends, as Ananya has mentioned about the peer support as well. So, what, like, if you see and observe your friend engaging into this, how can you help him or her out? What do you think? What can be the interventions we can adapt?
Ma'am, first of all, creating a healthy space to discuss their problem is very important. And so I would always encourage other people to lend a listening ear to their peers whenever they need it,
Mhm.
irrespective of whether they're harming themselves or not. And
Mhm.
as we have already crossed, I don't like, we've grown enough. So now being a bully or belittling someone for showing their emotions or even calling someone attention seeking is really not something we should actually be doing, because whatever they are doing, they have enough reasons to do it. And
Exactly.
judging them based on what we understand of their difficulties is a very shallow thing to do. Apart from that,
Mhm.
if it is solvable within peers, then someone should take up the responsibility to help their friends out, if it can be solved by their peers at all. And if not, then like the best thing I would suggest my friends is like going to see a therapist or talking with their friends out, and talking with their parents. And if it is not, if they don't have the courage to do it, for our friend circle we do it, like we always vouch for them to talk with their parents. So like, but
Exactly.
that is something that should be taken up by everyone, because not everyone has the courage to face their parents or the problem. So providing
Exactly.
a support, at least assuring the person that we are there to look for your back, is a great boost for them.
Great, great, great. Now, I would like to ask Ananya, from your clinical point of view, what can be the interventions which we can suggest to our people, to our viewers as well, and to our clients also?
Right. So when we see when any client comes with history of deliberate self-harm, we usually go through a set of assessments to understand what is like. So it's,
Exactly.
there's no, like one way of handling it. It's always we formulate the case, we do our assessment, we understand why this
Exactly.
person is engaging in. And it's when we have a tailor-made intervention plan for that person specifically. And we keep on,
Exactly.
discussing with our peer groups and just to understand how can we best help the person. But if you really look at a model of intervention, we usually first work on emotional regulation. So awareness
Mhm.
of emotions, like really, and there are
Mhm.
specific, very well written models, and everything is like in a workbook format. So we really have good structured materials on emotional regulation. So mainly, understanding emotion is one of the main aspects. So awareness of emotion, and then knowing the different ways to regulate your emotion, how what are the ways to increase your positive emotions, what are the ways to reduce the negative. Because if you see again, it is, I'm just connecting it with that four factor model multiple times, because I
Exactly.
know those are the reasons. So it's the one of the main factors to reduce difficult experiences, the automatic negative experiences. We want to reduce that, and we want to increase our positive emotions. That's one of the major factors. So if we know well, like healthier ways of doing it, that works. So emotional regulation model is basically designed based on that framework. Other than that, we can also, we have distress tolerance skills. So it is about, there's a distressing situation and we need to now, we cannot probably change a lot of things. We have to tolerate that distress, be it a difficult experience in family, or be it the COVID situation, be it lack clarity about your career, be it anything. It's a like the list is endless. But if it is distressing, and you're not being able to work through or navigate through that distress, then distress tolerance skills really help a lot. And the other aspect is, of course, about some of the mindfulness based skills. They really help. So mindfulness, it's not always, we often confuse mindfulness with meditation only. And for youth, it is like, I have to meditate. No, I don't think I'm cut out for meditation. But that is not what mindfulness is. So learning certain aspects of mindfulness definitely works, and maybe some areas of interpersonal effectiveness at times. And if you think that that is, let's say, the social negative part, that is what is the driving factor, a social negative, social positive part, then the interpersonal effectiveness works. That helps. And when we are going through all these skills, like there's an array of intervention methods. It's a long-term process. We have, individual interventions, group level interventions. It usually takes around 2-3 months time. In a very structured way we do it, but in general it is in that, based on that framework, that how can we, use our personal resources, our current so sometimes increasing positive emotions can be done in multiple ways. It can be, there's a concept of wise man accepts, where I just saw Mind Mirror also share it a few days back. So we know that accept is it's an acronym, where A is with
Exactly.
activity, C is with contribution, or C is with
Exactly.
comparison, P is with, pushing away difficult emotions, E is
Exactly.
um, with different emotions, like do it with other, like engage in some activity which engage in very opposite emotions.
Exactly.
Then T is with
Exactly.
thoughts, and S is with sensation. How we can
Exactly.
use our sensations, that is so amazing to see, that our physical sensations sometimes just there's something where we can say that, hold ice in your hand tight and let the emotions go. That is so helpful at times. So using sensations, there are multiple ways. It's probably in this forum we can only say that there are many skills for emotional regulation, for distress tolerance, mindfulness skills, interpersonal effectiveness skills, and it's takes around 2 to 3 months to really learn all the skills. But once you learn it, you're equipped, and that is usually our intervention method. And this process, if we see there are childhood adverse experiences, trauma that needs to be addressed, we go back and we try to process that as well.
Exactly. Along with that, one more thing is like, when we are talking about interventions, we need to keep in mind, even the clients also need to keep in mind that it takes time. It's not a magic, right? So we have to be very patient enough to give ourselves a time that, yes, we need time to get healed. That is very, very important. Because if you don't give yourself some time, that means you are not giving a good enough justice to yourself. So that need to be remembered. So we are almost on the verge of an end. Before ending, I would like to ask, and just a small takeaway for our viewers, what they can take away with them today with this session actually. So first, I'm going to our young mind only to speak about what takeaway would you give, or what message would you like to give to your friends and to all the young generation.
Ma'am, firstly, whoever is facing DSH, I would like to let them know that there is always someone out there who is very, very ready to listen to you. And it's not that you are all bottled up and there's nobody to reach out to. There is always someone. uh, I would encourage everyone to actually let them know that we are there for you whenever you have to speak of anything. Apart from that, I guess engaging in some sort of an activity, it doesn't always have to be a physical activity, but some sort of engaging in some sort of a hobby or activity helps. Referring to the friend who used to self harm, now finds taking care of plants to be an excellent stress buster, because they are especially sensitive and he considers himself a very sensitive person. So he's like that, knowing that I can care for them is a way that he channels his inside tension on.
That means he is
So
taking care of himself.
yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
He reflects his own image onto the plants. So
exactly.
getting to know oneself is, I guess, the best way to deal with it. Apart from creating a better environment, and it's
Mhm.
high time we all learn that we have to be a lot more patient with everyone.
Exactly. And patient with yourself. That is very important,
Yes,
because
ma'am.
somewhere I feel that we don't give ourselves that time, that space, nothing. We just running. In our mind, we have kept this concept, yes, is a rat race. We need to run and run and run.
Yes,
But there need to be a time where you need to just stop, take a pause. Okay, now I need some time for myself, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 18, 30 minutes, and then I will again walk. And one
yes,
more thing,
ma'am.
I feel somehow that whether you are engaged in self harm behavior or not, I don't know. But for everyone, we need to learn how to accept our failures. That is very, very important, because we always tend to run about behind the positive things, but then we cannot neglect the negative also, because life is full of positive and negative. So when we are accepting one phase of life, we need to start accepting the second phase also, and that's okay. That is very important. Yes, ma'am. Sunanda, what is your message you want to impart to our viewers?
Yeah, know your strength. That is more important.
Mm-hmm.
We have to make a note on strength and weaknesses. Then we have to focus on strength.
Exactly.
Then love yourself. We are with
Mm-hmm.
you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Love your body. Don't harm it. That
Exactly.
is more important. Then we can write a love letter to yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, we won't
Exactly.
focus ourselves. Just we will search for others, or we have to express our emotions to others. Not like that. We can focus ourselves. We can build our inner engineering, right?
Exactly, exactly. Even what I suggest to my clients also, I ask them, you can start writing diary or journaling, but then there
Yeah.
are certain people who don't write. Even I, on the person, I don't prefer writing the diary. Why? I feel that I am scared of emoting the emotions on the paper and then again seeing that. So what we can do, either you can write a diary, that is a very beautiful thing, or you can record it. You can have an audio diary, any of the two, but the main thing is you expressing the emotions. That is what important is. Okay, thank you so much, Sunanda ma'am. I would like to ask Ananya, what is your message to our viewers?
I think I will resonate with what Sunanda ma'am said and Anupam said, because I think one thing we are trying to definitely say is that um, let's not associate any judgment with
Exactly.
deliberate self harm. Let's first, as ourselves, equipped to accept all kinds of emotional expressions, understand that there is a pain that is, it's a language of the pain. So there is a pain, and you're trying to express that, you're trying to manage that. So let's all be a little bit more compassionate towards ourselves and towards others as well. Let's all be, little bit less judgmental, that, oh, I know why they are doing it. It's not really about judging, it's about understanding. That is what we are, right? We are a social unit, and we can be a social, well-knit social unit if we are just a little bit more compassionate and understanding towards each other. From a
Exactly.
clinical perspective, I just want to highlight that we are there for you. And when I say we, I say everybody. I represent everybody in our fraternity. We are there. So you just need to reach out. I do understand it might be difficult sometimes to convince family members, parents, saying that, this is what is happening. But sometimes what happens, what we feel has helped is you take one session somehow, and then we can call your parents, we can talk to your parents, we can psychoeducate them that what this is, and that really helps. There are many right now. For example, Therapy is an online organization, so accessibility is very easy. You can just, it's just a click away. There are many organizations, including that by Therapy, where we give student concession rates. There are like pro bono counseling also happening. So there's so much option. So don't let finances be a deterrent factor. If you need help, just look for it, search online. All of us are there. We like, I can speak for my organization, that we have so many slabs, so many ways by which we are trying to help. So reach out and figure a way out by which professionals can help you. And professionals are there to help you. They will also discuss with you and figure out a way. But you don't have to be in that, again, going back, that internal negative state and go through this phase. You can come out. There is hope at the end of the tunnel. And we can help you equip with the skills required to reach the end of the tunnel.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Ananya, for this wonderful message. Thank you, all the panelists. And thank you so much for a lovely and fruitful discussion we had today on this very sensitive topic. I would really appreciate, and I'm very grateful to each one of you for giving and taking out time on Sunday morning, that too, where we all want to relax, but definitely taking out time. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Anupam. Thank you, Ma'am Sunanda. Thank you, Ananya.
Thank you,
So,
sweetie, for
Thank you so
organizing
much.
this also, because I think this is where we can start. The discussion is
exactly.
important. The fact that all of us could discuss these things and we are reaching out to a number of people, I think
This
that's a
one.
great work
Exactly.
done. So thank you for organizing
And I
this and giving
really
us.
hope that our agenda of reaching out to people is not only just like, yes, we just want to talk, but if we can make a difference, that is what our
Yes, ma'am.
agenda is. Even
Yeah,
if we make 0.01% also, that is also a start. Something is better than nothing. I always believe in this concept. So
absolutely.
thank you so much. Thank you. So
Yeah,
raising this
thank you,
topic of
sweetie.
self-harm. Thank you, ma'am. Raising this topic of self harm can often bring a feelings of fear, guilt, or shame, as there are people who self harm but don't ever share with anyone. But then, what we can do is to recognize the triggers and practice positive coping mechanism or regulation. I would say emotional regulation, such as inculcating mindfulness, use punching bags of pillows to take out your emotions, practice self-compassionate through positive affirmations, looking yourself in more positive way. That is what matters actually, how you look and perceive yourself. Find substitute to self-harm by giving a second thought and delaying the behavior, and of course seeking professional help. So we are sure that this discussion with our enriching panelists has enlightened us to understand better one major aspect, because mental health is not only about depression or anxiety. It has many colors and many aspects, and has also help the viewers to empower to empathize with others and aid them to reach out for help if needed. We are there to live a better life. And yes, March 1st is dedicated as a self harm awareness day. And thus, let us take some time out and join hands to help each other to make a person feel that somebody is there to listen without being judged. Remember, you are important and you are the one who can take care of yourself. So, if you are in need, please come to us or come to approach any mental health professional near to you. Remember remember that yes, physical health along with mental health matters. So thank you for being there with us and supporting us for making mental health reach out into every nook and corner. So we will be back soon, but till then, I'm going to end and conclude our session with a video, and I hope everyone would love it. Thank you so much, all the panelists.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So let me share a video. I really hope that you will all love this. And this will be the concluding one. Till then, I request everyone to please be safe, enjoy, and take care.
Are you looking for a better life? Don't wanna leave the world this way. The journey starts within. Don't let your dreams fade. If you think to yourself that wait, you got lost along the way. But look inside yourself, that doesn't have to be a fate. You are the life that you create. You are the dreams from yesterday. You are the change that comes your way. It's not too late. The whole world is out there, so live for today. impossible. It's time to take control. You're the only one who can make that change. And it's time to reach those goals. No more putting them on hold. Just live for today. You can change your fate. You are the life that you create. You are the dreams from yesterday. You are the change that comes your way. It's not too late. The whole world is out there, so live for today. Like there's no tomorrow, nothing's in your way. Don't let your dreams aside, you'll never come to like something never play. Don't live for tomorrow when you can live for today. Just live for today. Just live for today. Just live for today. The whole world is out there, so live for today. There's no tomorrow, nothing's in your way. Don't let your dreams aside, you never come to like a song that never played. Don't live for tomorrow when you can live for today.